Center here in Sunrise, Florida, where we have the first round of the Sam Costa Match Play Tournament. I'm Jeff Turjot. I'm here with Ryan Mano.
Good morning, everyone.
And we are excited to bring you this tournament. This used to be called the Palm Beach County Match Play Tournament, one of the best tournaments down here in South Florida, very prestigious. A lot of great bowlers have bowled in this and won this tournament. And it's now been moved down from Palm Beach County to Broward County. We're here in Sunrise. And we're ready to go. This is round one. This is a double elimination tournament. It's match play. The first round, the bowlers will be bowling a 3-game total pins match. And then after that, it'll be a 2-pin total games match. So, Brian, what do you think we should look out for today?
Transition. This is not a house shot. So this is roughly 3.5 to 1 pattern. A little bit longer than your house shot. I think it's about 43, 44 feet. So it's anywhere from 2 to 4 feet longer than your average house shot. And it's going to be not quite as much free hooks to the right based on the pattern we looked at. I know, Jeff, you tested the pattern, so you know that there's a little bit of push out there to the right. So really going to look at transition. We're in a very high friction house. In years past, we were at birdies and the fronts were high friction, but the backs kind of tapered out a little bit and you got a little bit of push. Here, we're in a high friction house from front to back, so it's going to be very interesting to see the transition of this pattern, see where people start. I've already seen people like you just saw Gareth, he's in third, fourth arrow, saw a few people in third, fourth arrow. Down on 11 and 12, Nate Garcia is right of third arrow. So there's a couple ways to attack this pattern. I think the straighter the better for the beginning, and then maybe have it open up a little bit, and as it opens up, you chase left, and kind of ball down in your bag and chase it left. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with all the bowlers out here. We got a pretty deep field.
Right. This tournament has a tradition of not putting out a house shot, but not putting out something super tough either. And this year, Brian McMahon, who's running the tournament, wanted to kind of replicate that. So this isn't a house shot. It's, I think, a 3.5 to 1 pattern. So it's going to be not difficult, but not easy. You're still going to have to make good shots. And hopefully these bowlers can put on a good show for us today. Hopefully we get a lot of exciting matches. There's always some really good matches in this tournament. We've got a lot of great bowlers here today. Right now we're behind lanes 33 and 4, watching, this is Chris Felker and Gareth Thompson. Chris Felker, incidentally, came in second place at the non-champions regional this past weekend in Fort Myers, and he puts a lot on the ball, and it looks like he's using a very dull idle Helios. So it'll be interesting to see if he just absolutely destroys this plane.
Yeah, so I believe this is the ball he used on Shark at the regional. And Chris throws it about 19 miles an hour and gets a good deal on it. Although, honestly, it looks like he threw that a little bit slower than he normally does, as I say that. But he's attacking it like you would attack Shark almost. He's a little right of 20, but less than 10 down lane. He's trying to keep everything in front of him. Not a bad idea on this pattern. I think he's starting a little too far left with a little too much surface. But we'll see how that plays out in games 2 and 3, and we'll see what he does in order to change that.
If you've taken a look at Chris Felker's bowling bags at any time, everything he has a lot of surface on it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of surface in that bag.
The king of friction down here in South Florida. And Gareth Thompson, obviously, his opponent is a great bowler down here in his own right. Newcomer to South Florida. I think he just moved here this past year from
the Carolinas.
Yeah. Carolinas. So definitely one of the better bowlers down here. It should be a great match in round one right off the bat. And it's going to be important for both of them because in the double elimination tournament, you don't want to get thrown into the loser's bracket early.
Yeah, you're going to bowl a lot of games if you wind up in that loser's bracket early. Oh, if you wind up in it at all, you can potentially bowl a lot of games. But I think one of the marquee matchups right now is Felker and Thompson. They're also good friends, so that's hopefully they can put that aside and bowl this match. Just to the right on 35 and 36, you have Charlie Ferrero, who won that regional. We were talking about where Felker finished second.
So Charlie Ferrero sitting down right there. Charlie and Chris bowled that final match, and it looks like they're kind of near each other in the bracket. So if they get to round 3, I think they'll be bowling each other if they both survive. So it'll be a rematch of last week's non-champions regional. By the way, apologies in advance for the movie camera, but we don't have a very professional setup down here. We don't have fancy computers or cameras down here in South Florida. We're not that advanced. We have 2 hands holding up an iPad. But you know what? It's either that or not broadcast this. So we want to bring you this tournament any way we can because it's a lot of fun. It's one of the things that bowlers down here in South Florida look forward to every year.
And a good field. We limited it to 64 entries this year. Normally, this tournament was a 128 entry tournament, but the last few years we were having trouble getting 128 entries, so there were a lot of buys and re-entries and things of that nature. So what Brian decided to do this year was limit the field to 64. I think it works out better for the bracket concept. Everybody's rolling a match. Nobody's getting a bye. Nobody's getting a re-entry. It's win or lose to the loser's bracket and then lose again and you're out.
And the full field, the tournament sold out very quickly. So if you're down here in South Florida or you're somewhere near South Florida, if you're in Central or even North Florida, and you want to come bowl this tournament next year, you want to make sure you get your entry in early as we see Felker trip out the 4-pin on the rolling pin across the lane.
So that goes to what you were talking about earlier, where there's a little bit of push in the middle, but not quite that much. You can see he was definitely a little high, got a little lucky tripping out the floor. I think his speed allows him to maybe get that extra few feet that a couple people like Gareth, for example, may not get if he misses it.
Looks like he's throwing instead of an obsession tour, I'm thinking it looks like. So Garrett's going with the Pearl ASIM and Chris Felker is going with the very dull symmetric ball. So two different styles. I mean, Chris, a lot of revs, goes above very hard. And Garrett is much more of a Brian Kretzler type slow wheel the lane. Yeah. Not to that extreme, but Garrett wants to make sure he gets some length on the ball, looks like on this pattern early.
Yeah, Garrett's a solid 2 to 2.5 mile an hour, less than Felker and a lot heavier roll. So Chris will get a little bit more on it, but he'll be able to get it through the parts of the lane with his speed. Garrett needs to circle the lane with his speed, so it's a little bit different when you're looking at both of those players, and you're kind of deciding, okay, well, why does he have something a little shinier in his hand and a little further left, whereas Chris can straighten up a little bit, keep everything in front of him a little bit more, and throw something a little bit darker. As you said, King of South, down in South Florida. So.
Take a look at Charlie Ferrero, who won the non-champion region last weekend. A two-hander, lots of power. He's just going to be looking to overpower this pattern. This bowling center, as you said, is very high friction, where he has a lot of revs and a lot of speed. Yeah. And he can basically just cut his own shot out of whatever's on the lane most of the time.
I've been watching and on and off coaching Charlie since he was 14 years old when he was a junior. Always had the speed, always had the great roll as a two-hander. Now he's learned how to play lanes, and he was already good as a kid, so now as an adult, where he's learning how to play lanes, learning how to take the ball a little bit.
Was that his first regional that he bowled last weekend?
I don't think it was his first, but he's starting to bowl more now. He went to Chief Trials this past January, bowled fairly well, kind of got his legs under him after the first day or two, and really bowled pretty well for the first time out there. It's different when you're bowling regional or you're bowling a tournament, and then you're out at Chief Trials and you're bowling with Kyle Troop and Kyle Sherman and all those guys. So it's just a little bit different when you're crossing. So Charlie was able to put on a good show, and I think he'll be back next year. And I wouldn't put it past him to honestly make the team next year. That's how good I think he needs to come.
A good shot by Garrett there. You can see he's down a bit early though. Felker with a triple. Garrett has spare strike. So Chris Felker looking to get out to an early lead here.
So we'll see what Felker does in this shot, because his last one was a little windy. I'm curious if he gets it a little wide with his speed, if it will actually recover. Again, you cut a little bit short, and you can see, as Jeff was explaining earlier with this pattern, you cut it a little bit short. There's just not that hold in the middle, especially when you have something with a high end ball with surface.
See Derek Hightower on lane 31 crossing over, and he's using a pearl ball trying to get it down the lane. And I tested this pattern. They're not dry, but this bowling center is high friction, so even a shot that's got a good amount of volume does tend to hook. I know we practice on a special pattern that John Janowitz made for us in the bowling center. John Janowitz from Kegel, who actually designed this pattern. And we put out, I don't know, it's like 43 feet, 38 mils, and even that pattern hooks. So yeah, everything hooks in this building.
Everything hooks in this building. It's tough to really put out a true shot in this building sometimes. you think you're putting out high volume, and you are. It's just the characteristics of the house don't allow the high volume to play like a high volume shot.
One good thing about this house, though, is I would say it doesn't really favor righties over lefties or lefties over righties. It seems to be about the same on both sides. It's just a matter of who can keep the ball in the pocket and get the right entry angle.
In fact, the two highest series in this house are both right-handed.
I know Bobby Walters Jr., who's bowling in this tournament, shot 898.
He beat Andy Van Nostrand, whose
Right.
record, well, I think it was
96?
896 or
Something
something like that.
that.
No, it's kind of gross. And Bobby Walters did it on 39 and 40, by the
Did?
way, which was not the easiest pair in this
I was
house.
bowling. He bowled. Did you know he bowled 898 that night, and I won the second game pot off of him that night because that was one of the games he shot 299 and I shot 300 that game.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I believe one of his 299s was a 5
It was one of his 299s. Was I think that was the game I beat him for.
The only guy I know that can shoot 898 and get crap for it for leaving a 5.
Yep. So here's Costa. He gets the ball a little wider on this shot.
Yeah.
Way better. Still a little high flush though. So
Yeah.
we'll see what he does.
So even though Chris has, he's shooting on 240, 250 pace here, I still think he's a little too far left with too much pace. And I think we're seeing that as the ball picks up in the third, fourth, and fifth frame. I wonder again if he gets it right, how much recovery he'll have with his speed. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustment, if at all, he made.
So we'll watch Gareth throw this shot, and then we'll take a walk down and we'll see some of the other bowlers but Gareth with a good shot there, he puts up a double. So let's take a little walk. One good thing about having an iPad is we can cover basically every lane in the house. So we're going to be going a little bit. We have a good match on this pair. We have Bobby Newmeyer, one of the premier lefties down here in South Florida, bowling against Matt Gilman, who is one of the best amateur bowlers in the country, even though he doesn't really bowl much stuff. I know he's done really well at the USBCs. Does he have an eagle at the USBC?
He's not, I don't think, but don't quote me on that. But, I'd be remiss if I didn't remind everybody who doesn't already know that he shot 300 and did not go into these 300 game pop. It cost him about 11 grand.
Oh my God.
And I'm sure Sean McCarty thanks him for that. Day in and day out. I believe the rule is every time they see each other, McCarty buys them a drink for letting him pocket that money.
So here's Newmeyer on lane 29. He's got 57 in the fourth of this pair. So that's
I
right
have
now.
a foot issue there on the kind of shot. And as Jeff said, Matt on 30, one of the better right-handers in South Florida, in the state, probably in the country. Has been for years and years. Just a phenomenal player. It doesn't matter what you put out there. Put a ball in the can and it's good.
He went high on that one. Looks like.
Looks like he's cut it a little short. He's doing a little bit more of what Nate Garcia is doing down here. Definitely keeping it in front of him a little bit. I think he's got to get it a little further right if he's going to do that, but definitely keeping it in front of him and trying to let the lane just take the ball for him instead of forcing anything. Matt gets up the back of the ball fairly well, so he can get around it if he needs to, but his A game is really getting up the back of the ball and just revving it up.
Now, one of the other bowlers on this pair, as you can see, is Kyle Paxton. Kyle is probably up there in rev rate with every bowler in the world who's not a two-hander,
Yeah.
I would say. He does not get cheated on any shot he throws. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the pair.
And past winner of this tournament.
And past winner of this tournament. He's won this tournament twice, hasn't
Yes.
he?
I think, was it back-to-back? I don't remember.
I don't know.
But I know he's won at least once, if not twice. And we don't see Kyle very much anymore at tournaments, but he does like to come out and bowl this tournament. I believe it's one of his favorite tournaments to bowl. So.
Looks like the Gareth Thompson and Belter match. Looks like Garrett now has a triple, and Belter has triple spare double. So still close. Definitely going to be a high-scoring match. I would expect it to take probably 740, 750 to win that one.
I would think so. As long as the lanes don't get super crazy in transition during games 1 and 2, I think you're going to see a couple 700s out of them today.
And while we have a second, we do want to thank the sponsors of this event. Storm Bowling, as always, is doing a great job in the bowling industry, and we thank them for sponsoring this event. Also, Gabriel Him Bowling Event has added some money to the prize fund here, and we thank Gabe as well for his generosity.
Gabe, a premier tournament runner and bowler down here in South Florida, and we can't thank him enough for everything he does, just between Flirt and all the stuff that he does for bowling in South Florida and bowling in general. Gabe's a pretty cool guy. If you guys don't know him, you get a chance to see him around, give him a thanks, please.
So Newmeyer with the big split. Gilman's looking to take advantage of that, and he goes through the pace himself.
Oh, trips out the six.
And that's a huge race for Gilman right there. Like Newmeyer, after leaving that split, he sees Gilman go to hit and 4-6, and he's thinking, oh, I'm not, I still got a good shot here, and he just trips the six out.
Thankful for Bobby though. This is makeable. So this is a little difficult, but makes the baby split on the inside. Should cover the 10 pin. Looks like he missed that a little bit. Close though. Still looks like he's struggling with his slide foot a little bit. Keeps coming back and sliding on the approach. Looks like he might be sticking a bit. Gareth with another strike, a 4-bagger, just to try to keep pace with Felker over there. Felker going on 250, 260 pace. Gareth going on 250 pace. So that's going to be a high-scoring match, and so is Charlie's match on the pair next to it. Charlie's got spare 5-bagger, his opponent strike spare 4-bagger. So that match is also looking to be a pretty high-scoring match.
So we'll check in on them in a second. I want to go to 25 and 6. So we've got a couple of really interesting matches on 25 and 6.
We got the old man down here.
We got the old man on 25 and 6. The old man is Adam Colton, former touring pro. You might have seen him on TV back in the 1830s. I don't know. And Adam Colton is bowling one of the brightest young stars down here in South Florida, Reggie Pearson. And we also have another match where David Brown, who beat Tom Doherty, touring pro, bowler of the year candidate last year, Tom Doherty. He beat him in the first round, I think it was last year, and he's bowling against Sal Mazzio, who's also one of the better bowlers down here, does a lot for the community and the bowling family down here, running tournaments and travel league. So let's see what we got on the score. Looks like David Brown has tripped his fair strike, and Sal is not doing so good.
Yeah, David's got an early, commanding lead early. He really shut the door on the first game here. Wow. Okay, well, I did not expect that to hit Tonkin, I'll be honest.
I couldn't see the ball going down the lane from my angle, but
it got right at 14.
It didn't look like it got right at 14 at all. So, here we got Bobby Walters Jr., who is the 898 man, as we said. Looks like Bobby is really struggling. He's hit 46 in the fifth.
Yeah.
He must be injured or hurting, because that's unlike him.
Gutter balls, so I wonder.
Well, like I said, there's a little bit of hang on the gutter there.
Yeah.
And so he might have been trying to get it right, because Bobby loves to slow hook the ball. He might be just trying to get it right, and it's just not coming back.
Felker, the king of surface. Bobby would be the king of the slow hook down here.
And Bobby's opponent has the front six right now, so it's definitely not looking great. Bobby's opponent is Brian Murphy, who I only see one day a year now. He used to bowl in league with him and against him, but now I see him one day a year, and that's the day of this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Brian in 3 years.
Yeah, but definitely one of the better bowlers down here. So it's no surprise to me if you count the front six right now. Not even. As Bobby tries to cover the 3-6 and looks like the top of the 3-off. So
Jeopardy is not breaking 100.
Yeah. So that's not something you want to see. So let's get a look at Red.
Very reminiscent of the Mika TV match on TV.
Red takes out the Stone 8. It looks like he's struggling too a bit. Surprisingly, a low-scoring match. I would expect the match between Colton and Reggie to be a lot higher scoring than that. See Colton trying to get ready to shoot his 9-pin. There's that hang as we see the solid head spin on lane 27. Down man, strike.
South needed to put something together here in order to catch up to David.
Yeah, David Brown's got a good, nice, clean, solid game here, and he's got about a 40-pin lead right now.
So it's interesting development back down to our right. Charlie just went 2-8-10 back-to-back frames. So that match taken a sharp turn in his opponent's favor. After Charlie started with strike 5-bagger, or sorry, strike spare 4-bagger.
David Brown coming up light, leaving the 2 pins, so he'll likely cover that. Let's go take a look. Let's take a walk back down the edge there as you follow us along. As we see, we get a shot at Brian McMahon, who's done a great job running this tournament. Hello, Brian. How are you this morning?
Well, how are you?
We're all doing great. Look at this trophy. That's a pretty cool trophy. I like that. Is the trophy the eagle or the granola bars and the bagel?
Not sure what's more important on that thing,
The
but
losers get the bagels.
Well, let's take a look.
we were just talking about Charlie's match, and he went back-to-back 2-8-10s. His opponent just got up and went 2-4-10. So both of them, because I saw both shots, hit that little hang spot, Jeff, that you were talking about. And even with Charlie's rep rate, he couldn't get back to that hang spot. And his opponent with a little bit less rev rate, but 2 hands, also couldn't get it back to that hang spot.
So, I mean, this is good. This is what we wanted the lane conditions to be like. Scoreable and fair, but not overly easy like a house shot would be.
Correct.
So now let's go look at Larry Brand. He's also one of the better bowlers down here in South Florida. And he's in a close match right now himself. If he gets the ball right, that's not coming back from there.
And Larry is nursing a hamstring injury, so he's doesn't look like he's having a lot of fun there.
No.
So we now, I don't know if you guys got to see that shot. I don't know if Jeff panned over a little bit. Chris has already moved left and opened up the lane just a little bit. So he's laid down at probably 3, 4, 5 boards further left than it was when we saw him start. And him and Garrett have a heck of a match going. 270, 260 here right now. So Garrett needs every bit of these to stay close, and that was left.
Yeah,
that was left. You can see it. You can see Garrett's frustration on the let go.
Yeah, he knew he missed it, but it almost got there.
It almost got there, yeah.
And then to get your hopes up like that it's going to still strike, and then just a 4-9, that's all.
So
it's got to be a killer.
It's funny because if he had something just a pinch more aggressive in his hand, it probably crosses over.
Yeah.
But you know the ASIM and the shine on that ball just let it push a little bit, just not far enough. He needed another foot or two for that to push.
So do you, off of that, try to make a better shot, or you just move a board or 2 more left? And you see what your opponent's doing. He's moving left already on you, and you don't want him to get on the other side of you.
Yeah, so that's tough because it was such a bad shot that I'm not sure you can really make a move after flushing 4 or 5 in a row. I'm not sure you make a move off a shot where you've missed almost an arrow left. I personally don't, if I throw that bad of a shot. I don't think Garrett will. You could see just how frustrated he was with that shot. He knew he missed, and he knew he missed big. So I'm not so sure you're going to see him make a move.
And now Garrett in danger going down 40 pins going into game 2.
Shooting 230, mind you.
Yeah, shooting 230, but if Chris puts up 276,
yeah.
I mean, and he's going to be down 40. And it's a 3 games total pins. It's not best, 2 out of 3 or anything like that. So every pin matters. Also, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat on YouTube. And we'll see them here, and we'll try to answer them for you. If you have any questions about the tournament or the lane conditions or why Brian and I aren't good enough to bowl in this, so we're happy to answer.
We're happy to answer those too, by the way.
So we do have a good match on 37 and 8. Anthony DeStasio, one of the best lefties down here, against Robert Graves. And it looks like DeStasio put up 211, and Graves is looking at about 230, 220. So we'll see if he can finish out in the 10th frame. And he strikes there, so that's going to be a game at least in the 230s for Robert, maybe more. Oh, Larry Brand with the 4-9. That hurts. He needed that, absolutely needed that to get back in this match. So here's Felter.
That was left. Well, I'll tell you, Chris is getting that push in there.
Sometimes it's good to throw the ball 100 miles an hour, huh? So Garrett's going to need a triple or at least a double in the 10th frame just to at least keep us close.
But again, as you said, it's a 3-game match. It's not game by game. So if Garrett keeps this within 20, 30 pins, I'm pretty sure. And you can see it didn't look like he moved. He just threw better shots there. And again, Maxie's down his 30 here, and Chris happens to miss. Then he's down less than 20. So it's still a tight match, even though Chris is bowling an outstanding game.
So here's Felker working on a 6-bagger. That's going to push it. Yep. Wow, he almost 9-pin there, but again, it's good to throw the ball 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I think every bit of that ball speed is what took the 9-pin out there.
And that allows him to throw that surface that some people just can't throw.
And then he doesn't have to worry about the over-under, left to right, or the lanes being too fresh front to back.
Yep.
It's really underrated the reaction that he gets, because it just looks like he's overpowering the ball, but with all the surface he uses, it's just so smooth. It's really easy for him to control it. And with a smooth ball, you wouldn't think you'd be able to carry it so much, but he just hits it so hard that he's able to create the power at the pins that the ball is making him lose because he's using such a smooth ball. Gets that one right. There's no way that's
He got 9. I mean, 9 is good. 9 is good. It's stone head pin. Stone head pin.
So that's going to be a 39-pin lead now for Chris Felker going into game 2.
And a little bit interesting, Charlie, after the back opens, comes back from the double, actually throws a better shot in the 11th and just comes up a little light. So Charlie's going to finish with 211 with spare. His opponent matches with 233, but could have been a lot worse of a deficit because of Charlie's 7th and 8th frame. His opponent gave him a little opening in the 8th and the 9th by opening and sparing. So we'll see how his opponent finishes up here.
Great shot there. He gets it right enough to where it doesn't hook early, but not too far right. And he can actually use that out of bounds a little bit because he doesn't throw the ball very hard. So he's going to be able to get the ball to hook where somebody like Charlie might not, because he throws the ball so much harder.
And he's also not going so much left to right, a little bit left to right, but not so much. So like you said, the combination of his speed being a little bit less and his angle not being quite as open as some of the other guys with 2 hands and some hands, he's getting that reaction in the, we'll call it the out of bounds for lack of a better term, but he's getting that reaction right where you saw Gilman come up light, or you saw Larry just miss the head pin completely. Little ball tester change there for 230. So only a 19-pin deficit for Charlie. I still give the advantage to Charlie in this match, just because Charlie's a little bit better of a shot maker. So we'll see how that plays out.
Plus, as the lanes get drier, he'll be able to overpower the breakdown a little bit, whereas his opponent might have a hard time with a slower ball speed. Again, this is a 3.5 to 1 ratio pattern. It's not a house shot. It's not a flat pattern. It's not going to be crazy difficult, but it's just enough where you still have to make shots, but you're not just going to be overly punished when you miss. That's just the tradition of this tournament, is not putting out the hardest pattern possible, but you don't want to put out the easiest pattern possible either for a match play event. That's no fun. So, I agree. But you can see, looking at the scores, although we do have, Garrett and Chris put up scores, there are the other people on their pair, 190, 170. The next pair over, 210, 190, 20, 215. So
next pair over was 210 and nobody else over 180.
Yep. Speaking of next,
there's definitely some, and that 15 Scott and your Bobby Meyer, you have 2 players. So give me a couple of high scores, but nothing crazy. You got a 250 up here.
So let's take a look at Kyle Paxton as they start game 2. Another bowler to keep an eye on is Derek Hightower on lane 31. Derek was my league teammate a couple of years ago, and he's probably one of the more improved bowlers in South Florida. I know a couple of years ago when he bowled with me, he was averaging about 215, and now his league average is up to about 230 something. So he's been working really hard on his game, trying to iron out some things. Has a really good, deceptively powerful ball. You see that?
Yeah, he gets a lot
power
on
takes
it.
the 4 out. It doesn't look like he's putting a lot on it, but he's very smooth off the release. So his ball's very clean, so it's able to hold a lot of its energy.
That shot there by Bobby. What a horrible break.
Yeah, that's a shaker 8-pin. That's not good. Not what you want to see. All right, take a little walk down to the left. What do we got? Let's see what scores on this pair. Looks like Colton beat Reggie Pearson 201 to 188. Again, it's total pins, so it's not a best 2 out of 3 match. And 214 to 178. Again, the pattern looks like it's playing exactly how we wanted it to play. Not hard, but not easy.
Right.
And bowlers are having to make shots and earn their strike, but they're not getting overly punished if they miss. So let's take a look at Reggie. Now he's down 13 pins going into game 2.
Talk about a powerful ball, by the way.
Reggie Pearson uses a conventional 14.
Crazy, isn't it?
But what he's able to get on it,
And smooth, too. Like, you don't realize how smooth he actually is.
and he's going with a very dull, looks like a Quantum Evo, very, very dull ball. Does that surprise you that he's using something that dull with that much surface?
You know, yes and no. He's a little further left. He's kind of playing that iffy area to the left part of the lane. You know, the again, lack of a better word, out of bounds on both sides of the lane. So it doesn't really surprise me that he's got something a little duller in his hand. I would have expected him. Reggie's one of the few left-handers that can get right and wheel the lane a little bit. So I'm kind of surprised he's not got something a little bit shinier in his hand, trying to bank that area instead of playing in it. But he must feel like he has an advantage somehow. Getting it into that area and maybe having the ball hold off a little bit. Nice spare there by Brian.
Now we'll get another look at David Brown. He always bowls with his keys hanging off his right
Ever
waist.
since I know.
Good shot by David Brown.
Yeah, interesting. David, I think he's from Radical stuff,
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
that is the new conspiracy scheme, I think, that he's throwing, the new purple one.
I mean, you can see, Dave gets quite a bit on it. Very, very end-over-end forward rolly, which is not what his game used to be. It used to be a little bit more around the side of it. Looks like he's worked on his game to try to get a little bit more behind it. But you can see that that ball's just not doing much. So he's got that push that really nobody else has in that middle part of the lane. And that should play very well for him if he can control that. And he's able to continue to get the ball through the front, but get it to react to the back without overreacting.
Let's go down and take a look at 21 and 2. We got a couple of big scores on game 1.
I think I had a bunch in my car.
Oh, I have some pens if you need. I'll get it to you later. So we have Chris Pett finishing out the game. We had Mark Book shoot 250. And let's see who else is on this tab.
235. And it looks like Giovanni might be the 183. Steve, good bowler. Both had a super, bowled him many times. Very simple game, but very effective. Allows him to play on multiple shots. He's one of those players like me, just keeps the ball in play. He's got a little bit more on it than I do, but just keeps the ball in play. He's got a very simple game and knows how to play lanes, knows how to play shots.
Big block for the spare in the 10th frame, so looks like we've got a couple of 40, 50 pin deficits here for bowlers to make up.
Taking a quick glance down back to where we were. Both Felker and Garrett have started with the double, so they're continuing to pick up where they left off.
By the way, if anybody wondering how come we haven't moved any further left than 19 and 20 years yet, 21 and 2, it's because we're on an iPad, we have to stay within range. We can't, yeah. We have to stay within range of the Wi-Fi router. So we're not going to be able to get any of those matches down there, but we do have some good bowlers. touring pro Nate Garcia is bowling down there. We have Marlon Hyatt, one of the better bowlers down here.
I mean, you got Andrew Clones, got Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got a bunch of people down there.
And as bowlers get eliminated and the tournament gets to be less and less people, the matches will be up here, so we'll be able to get all the bowlers. But for now, we're doing what we can do. It's either that or we can't broadcast this at all, so we'll take what we can get. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat, and we will be happy to answer them for you. Or if you just want to say hi or send your good luck wishes to any of the bowlers here.
Good match down here too with Senor Huff and Sal Angelo. So that'll be an interesting matchup. That Johnny Huff still throws the ball pretty decent over there. So.
Here's our first look at Mark Book, who's one of the better regional players down here in South Florida for the last 30 years or so.
Yeah, gotta be that long. Yeah.
Mark is basically he's a mainstay of the South Florida bowling community, always one of the best players. And he starts off in game 2, shot 250 last game, starts off with 3-6-10. And then on the pair next to him, there's Sal Angelo bowling. And it looks like the other match, there's Richard Cheney coming from Miami. Looks like he drove up this morning to bowl this event. Also one of the better players down here in South Florida for as long as I've lived down here. And then there's Anthony Giuliano.
It's Tony, please.
Tony.
I wrote Tony on the paper, bro.
Tony, how did you do your first game?
201, sir.
Did you win? Are you leading or are you
I'm
down?
leading.
Good.
Thanks, sir. Is this going to be all day?
Yeah, sure. Until my arms get tired.
Nice.
We'll hold this up. But I'll just pass the iPad to Brian. By the way, Brian, say hi to the folks. Brian.
Hello, everyone.
You can see it's not just me doing two voices today. So let's get the camera and take a look at Ted. Looks like he's playing with a Black Widow Ghost, wheeling a little bit. In a bit. There you go. Let's see, we can get a look at Dylan Suture here, one of the better lefties in this event. And he strikes on his shot. So let's take a look at Tony Giuliano.
What, last night or today? I had some fabric.
He's already playing left. Giuliano already playing middle arrow, looks like. Trying to get away from that out of bounds.
Might have been even a little further than Tony. I couldn't quite tell, but he never got as far enough right. So it just, like you said, he's trying to stay away from the out of bounds. Like we saw Steve just kind of get that relaxed push there. Tony can get the ball a little further right because of the speed in his hand, but that one I think he's just a little left on that.
Tony tries to cover the 3-6-10. Not an easy spare on this. If you get a little right, it might hang, but he chops the 3-6-10. Yeah. Nice to keep that tradition going on every tournament I've ever watched.
And just peeking down that Thompson supplement just started 4-bagger.
Yeah, let's go down there. Let's take a look at that.
That's going to be interesting the entire day.
As we're on the way down there, we'll take a look at the bracket that we have posted on the Pro Shop wall. And you can see exactly what we're doing here, what we've got. So as we say hi to Brian again, let's take a look at the bracket. You can see, so it's double elimination. The yellow indicates the spots for cashing. So there's going to be, that's the winner's bracket. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yellow spots for cashing. And then the loser's bracket is also 8 more. Those are the 16 bowlers who are going to be coming back tomorrow morning to continue the match play. And it's going to be the 16 bowlers who cash. So
looks like Larry figured something out there. He started with a 4-bagger this game. He is down, I want to say 30 or so going into this game. So he's made up a little ground. His partner hasn't started with the front 4, but he has.
Charlie Ferrero and
So you see now, Charlie has changed balls. And he's struggling a little bit, so I wonder if we didn't get to see his first 2 frames, so I don't know if that ball change was on this frame or a couple frames before. But this is the transition now that I think we're getting, that you're going to see some people struggle if they don't quite make the right shot.
Ortiz looking to cover the 3-6-10, 3-6-9-10, and he just misses a little bit right. Okay, so now Garrett and Felker both with the front four. We knew this was going to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker, as good old JR used to say. So yeah, these two are they're going to be going at each other for 3 games. It's just going to be strikes and strikes. Like I said, two of the better players down here in South Florida. So a good matchup in round one. It's no surprise that they're both striking a lot when a lot of other people are struggling. Looks like Garrett's moved a bunch left as well.
Yeah, he has definitely moved left, he's just opened his angle a little bit, but his spot down lane hasn't changed much. He's still keeping it around 10 board. He's well left of the out of bounds, but not so far left that it's going to read early. So he's opened up the lane in that respect.
Take a look at Felker here.
It looks like he's moved left too, just a little bit. You can tell by where he lined up. Again, like you said earlier, his speed is allowing him to play that part of the lane and not have it overreact, even though he's got some surface on it. And those guys are good friends, so they're back here yip-yapping it up because they're good friends and they bowl together a lot. So it's nice when you have that kind of matchup, but at the same time, you want to beat them.
That's one of the fun things about this tournament, though, is everybody down here knows everybody. So it's a format that we don't get to do a lot, head-to-head match play.
Larry with the front 5, putting a little pressure on his opponent. Larry almost made up that deficit from game 1, halfway through game 2. Now he's definitely made it up. His opponent flagged up 7.
Yeah, that's not what we want to be doing in a match play tournament against a bowler as good as Larry, especially.
Yeah, and especially when you have I don't want to say commanding lead after one game, but certainly a very nice lead after one game against a premier player. So you don't want to give those kind of guys openings. And you see Larry's clearly found that area of the lane he needs to be in, and he's probably thrown a 5-bagger at Dave, and maybe there's a little nerve on Dave's part, knowing that he's getting chased down quickly. Nice shot there.
So looks like that match, it's pretty close actually. Carly's going to have 77 in the 5th if he strikes, and the opponent with a 91 in the 5th, and he did strike. So here's Garrett now on the front 5. Make it front 6. Great shot by Garrett. It looks like he got a little bit in, and the ball was able to hold on, so he's able to get that 9-pin out in the last second. And now can Felker match him?
Brian, do I have to beat somebody else too on this side, or just my guy? Okay.
Gets it wide, and it's 2-8. So that ends his string at 5, and he's going to have to cover the double wood in order to keep himself clean in this match.
We see the Felker just miss a little right and didn't recover.
Yep.
So while everybody else has a little bit of right room, because Felker didn't look like he hit the out of bounds so much on that, but everybody else has that little right room because Chris's speed is such that he can't miss as far right as everybody else. And I think you saw that on the spare as well. He gave Garrett a huge opening here by just taking the back pin out of that 2-8. So Garrett with the 6-back and Chris with the open flips that match right back to even. And we see Charlie making a ball change, going back to the ball in game 1. I think he's going to open up the lane a little bit, but keep it left at 8-9 down lane. So much better shot there from Charlie. He brought his speed down a little bit, opened up the lane, got it to 8-9 down lane, and was able to get the reaction he was looking for. So he didn't get that push through to the 2-8 like he did in the first game. I also didn't get so much of an overreaction. Good move there by Charlie.
Let's take our first look at Anthony DeStasio. He is working on a pretty good game here. It's actually a great match. It's pretty close. So we'll watch DeStasio's shot. Looks like he's throwing a power torque. And he comes up light. And he's going to have a 3-7 to deal with. not the shot you want. You can see this game pretty close. They were both on 240, 250 paces.
And then we finally got our last two guys who ran into a little bit of an accident.
Yeah, so we had two bowlers who were coming from the west side of Florida, going down I-75 across the swamp, which is known as Alligator Alley down here. And apparently, Alligator Alley was shut down this morning. So they informed us that they were going to be a little late. And we did the only thing we could do is the tournament is a random draw. The opponents are random. The only thing we could do is just say, well, we can't delay the tournament for two people. You're just going to have to bowl each other.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tournament decision that we made as tournament directors. Brian McMahon and I and Jeff discussed it, and we decided that it was better to hold up round two for what's going to probably be 20 or 30 minutes than to hold up the first round for what would have been almost 75 minutes.
Well, you guys decide. I think I was at the supermarket at the time.
Yeah, you came in at the end of that decision.
No, but you're right, though. It's the only thing you can really do. You can't, in all fairness, you can't hold up the event. And we had the extra pair, the breakdown pair. And since there's only two of them on that pair, they're going to be able to catch up to the rest of the field. And second round should just start perfectly on time.
Yeah, they're going to catch up a little bit for sure. They'll probably be, by the time it's all done, they'll probably be a half a game or so behind. Not a big deal. By the time we write names in and get all that done, they'll be ready to go.
So Robert Graves looking at 250 games. He can double here. And DeStasio's max is 224. Do we know what do we remember what the score of their match was in game one?
I think DeStasio got him by at least 30, but I'll go check.
Yeah, take a look at the score sheet. It's a good match here.
245 to 211, so it was 34-10.
Okay, well, while it looks like they're waiting for a lane malfunction, let's go down to, I think it's 29:30, where Matt Gilman has the front eight.
And we're going to pass Gareth with the front seven.
Yeah,
So we'll go.
So let's walk on down. And you think, oh, if somebody's got the front eight, that pair must be easy. As you can see the scores, that pair is not easy.
Not easy.
No, I mean, there's the other bowlers on that pair are barely in the 190, 200 range. And Matt Gilman's got the front eight.
And we discussed earlier, it's one of the better players. Right. So no surprise here that after game one, he's kind of figured out something a little bit different. Get him on track.
So here's Kyle Paxton. Kyle is the bowler up at top. He's got a potential 230 game here.
In control of his match. As he won his first game. Oh, just a horrible break again. Something you see a lot in this building, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've left my share of 9 pins here. That's for sure.
This building has no shortage of horrible breaks.
Such as using a 5 pin on the front 11.
Yeah. For 898.
For 898.
So we've got two things going on here. On 29 and 30, we have Matt on the front 8, and just to our right, 33, 34. As soon as that first hit shot, we get the ninth one. We've got Garrett up here with the front 7 on 34. So we've got a couple of potential 300s.
300 alert, 300 alert.
300 alert.
Garrett looks like got that ball right a bit, but he easy strike to
Yeah,
Garrett.
that slow speed for Garrett is really paying off now. He's able to open up that lane a little bit.
It's actually, this is interesting in that you don't generally see this. If a pattern is really hard, you'll have bowlers, even the better bowlers, they'll struggle a bit. But now you have a pattern where some of the bowlers who aren't as sharp, they are struggling a bit, but the bowlers who are good, they're making it look like a house shot.
Yeah. So, like you said, I mean, every 10 that gets knocked out to keep pace. There's, again, like you were saying, the better bowlers are going to potentially struggle in that opening game until the shot blends out a little bit and they kind of get their legs under them and kind of see the shape. But once they see the shape, and you're seeing it with Matt front 9, Garrett front 8, Larry front 6, and then he stoned to 7-9 and then struck again. So you're seeing that come through with the better players now. They're executing their shots. Lanes have opened up just a bit for them. Even Adam Coleman, who had 4 bagger and then he 9 dabs for some odd reason, and then just threw a turkey.
And it's unlike Colton to miss a spare like that. Obviously, he used the ball on tour. He's still a good player. He's a grinder. He doesn't miss spares like that. So any 9 out is a surprise. Paxton throws his
Not
second.
good on that one.
No. So here's Felker trying to keep this match somewhat in the building.
And again, that one bad shot, but after that, it's been strike from Felker. Unfortunately for him, 260 is not going to be enough. And if they both strike out and Gareth goes to 300, that evens that match up.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting. We might see a pair of 800s on this pair. We never thought about 7.
Oh my God, did I say 740 was going to win that?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'll take the over, please.
We undershot that match, I think.
So here's Gareth Thompson for the front 9. And he slaps a 10 out.
Labeled every one of those out.
You can hear him yell on that one too. He's excited about that. He knows he needed it too.
Yeah.
Because he's down 30 something.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he actually needs to shoot 300 just to even out the match.
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that?
But like that's the nature of the tournament. Sometimes your opponent shoots, 5-10, and sometimes they shoot 8-10.
Yeah.
And with this pattern, it's not like everybody's shooting 8-10. This isn't a house shot. So there's some push outside and a little bit of hook inside. You still have to make shots, but you can see it's not impossible if you make shots to strike. I mean, we've got Matt Gillen with the front 9, got Gareth Thompson with the front 9, but all the bowlers around them are barely shooting 170, 180. Here's Derek Hightower in the 10th frame, looking for a 230 game, and he leaves a 2-5. So he's still going to win his match likely handily, but still needs to get to all the pins because, like I said, this is a 3 games total pins match. This is not a match play best, 2 out of 3 or anything like that.
That's a big non-double for Derek. His opponent strikes out for 192, got the first 2. Derek can get that first one as a 10. He puts a lot. He widens the gap. Puts a lot more pressure. But now this game is 2-0 to 190. That's a big difference when you're total pin match.
Yeah, 230, 190 is much bigger room there. Just try to make this 2-5. That's not an easy spare either. So here's Matt Gilman on the front 9. And let's see what he's got for us. Yes, it does.
That was a no-brainer off his hands.
A little bit this way.
There are very few people when they get lined up that are as good as Matt, and I mean very few. When he's got that comfort zone, he is very machine-like.
Yeah.
Very machine-like.
And his opponent, Bobby Newmeyer, is only going to shoot 180 this game, so Matt's looking at a 100 pin win there. So he's probably taking this. Yeah.
I think Matt won by 10 or 20 or 30 the first game. I don't remember, but
Yeah, there's no way he's shooting 160 next game.
even if he shoots 160, I don't think Bobby's shooting 300 based on what I'm watching. That was it. But
Oh, we got it there.
yeah, you can't give Matt that kind of room.
Yep. Must be nice to be good.
Yeah, my teammate. My EVA teammate. Both of them. Garrett and Matt. Both of my EVA teammates.
That's one heck of a team. I'll tell you what. If we didn't see it,
we
Garrett-
don't have a bad-
Garrett's got the front 10 now too.
We have 24 people on the team. I think I'm 25th. So we don't have a bad team.
So I guess we'll we'll go back and forth between the two. So now we've got Matt Gilman on the front 11. You can see there. So here's Matt Gilman for a 300 game. Oh, it's a little fast. A little right? Oh, he still gets it.
I think Matt was playing basketball on that one, but we're going to get to it anyway.
I think so. Now we're just going to go right over to Gareth Thompson. Yeah, quickly this way, I guess. So Garrett's on the front 10. And the flat 10. Not going to get the messenger.
We're going to call that a flat 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a happy 10. I don't know if it was flat.
Every 10's a flat 10.
Yeah.
Still a great game. It's going to be in the high 280s. And now here's Felker. And Felker now at least a chance to make 10 pins up.
And by the way, just panning over to Larry, shooting 266 this game. If he throws one more, he's now taking the lead in that match
By a lot, too.
by Yeah, he's flipped the 30s. 30s have flipped in that match. Stasio is down 65 in his match. I was just talking to him a little bit earlier and he said he's just the guy he's bowling, Robert, just has a little bit more room than he does, and Anthony left a couple splits. And, you know, he's got to fight. If anybody can come back and shoot 260, 270 this game and put a little pressure, it's Anthony.
Garrett is going to easily cover that 10-50.
Yeah, great game by Garrett there.
289 is big, especially when your opponent shoots 260.
Yeah, so I think, and I'm going to take a quick look here. So it was a 29 pin deficit for Garrett. So Garrett's going to win this game by 23-ish. And this is going to be basically an even match going into the final. Both of them making the turn, by the way, at about 5:30.
Yeah.
It's
a draw.
Yeah. I mean, you make the turn at 5:30, you're 100 ahead of everybody but Gilman in this building, I think. So, you know, it's an unfortunate draw for Garrett and Chris, you know, bowling their butts off, clearly.
And one of them's going to get stuck in the loser's bracket.
Yeah.
And getting into the loser's bracket in the first round of a double elimination tournament, not where you want to be.
Shooting potentially 760, 770, mind you.
Yeah, that's a tough break.
It's a tough break.
It's going to be a long day ahead for whichever one of them doesn't shoot 270 next game.
Yeah.
As Felker looks to finish off his 260 game.
I mean, kudos to Chris there. He threw a really bad shot in the 6th frame, but after that, it was just, you know, lights out. So that is that's a 6-pin match in Felker's favor going into game 3, and I think they're both making the turn at 5-0 and 5-10-ish. So, right, I think Felker shot 45 the first game, so he's making the turn at 11. And Garrett, I think, shot 15 or whatever, or 13 or 14, whatever he shot, so making the turn at 0. So yeah, these guys are going to shoot quite easily 730, 40, 50, and one of them's going to be in the losers bracket for doing it. So
Yeah.
quite a shame there.
Garrett, great game, Garrett, great game.
Yeah, averaging 260 and losing is all.
So what do you think you got to do this game in order to
just
come out on top?
strike. Hope that he somehow messes up.
Were you happy with the shot in the 11?
Yes, much better.
Right.
Good.
They went through the pins a little bit flat, but
See flat. That's what I said. It looked like it was a little flat.
But execution-wise,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, well,
I mean, we were just talking. You guys are both making the turn at 500 plus.
520 and losing.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, you know, you're both going to shoot more than 520 the way it looks.
Yeah.
You know, you're 100 pins of everybody else in the field with the exception of Gilman. So it's just kind of a rough draw for the two of you to bowl each other. So
part of the nature of this tournament. It's part of the fun of this tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
yeah,
but
for sure.
you just never want to be on the other end of it.
Still got one more game.
Yep.
So one more game. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. So let's go down and take a look and see how.
First look at Rack and Gacera since they were late numbers.
Yeah, let's do that because John Rakowski is one of the best amateur bowlers in Florida. I don't even know. Does he have his PBA card? He might.
No,
I think.
thankfully, he's my USBC teammate.
Oh, okay.
Well,
But yeah, definitely John Rakowski is one of the best bowlers in Florida.
I would say on the East Coast.
Probably.
At this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll go that far. Yeah,
his
absolutely.
game is so simple, but he is so good.
Yeah, he just doesn't miss.
Yeah, he doesn't miss, and he just pretty much, if you look at the top of any leaderboard in any tournament, his name is, if he's bowling, his name's up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys hit a little bit of, as you said earlier, a little bit of trouble on the way in with Alligator Alley being closed. They're coming from the Fort Myers, Naples area, so it took them a while to get here, but they started up a little late, but they're going to catch up. They're already halfway through game 1, and these guys are starting game 3. So
Yeah,
you figure they'll be fine.
And they're bowling on 39 or 40, which is the breakdown pair, but there's a reason it's the breakdown pair. 39 or 40 has a habit of hooking a lot more than every other pair in the building. So it'll be interesting to see if...
Especially 40.
Yeah, especially lane 40.
What a nice little break there for Dan.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if, even though there's only 2 bowlers on the pair instead of 4, if this pair breaks down a little faster than maybe some of the other pairs. As Stasio tries to make that 3-7 and just whiffed by it.
I mean, Anthony's going to be a loser's bracket bound as say hi to my teammate here.
John Rakowski, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you made it, John.
Thank you. I wanted to go back home.
Not allowed.
No, yeah, well, you're bowling. Good luck.
I can definitively say your first person in the loser bracket will be Mr. Costa, unfortunately. You just can't find anything on this pair and put anything together. He's down about 60, 65 going into this match. Really needed to shoot at a minimum 250 here with the way Robert had Anthony off camera a little bit. He said Robert got anywhere from pretty much 6 to 12 down lane. So it's tough when you have somebody that has a little bit of room and just can open up the lane a little bit and you can't quite get what you're looking for. So we'll see a shot here by Robert. Very simple game. And as I said, it's about 6 and he skates all the way down the lane.
Looks like he had a little problem with his watch. Maybe came loose during that shot.
That's what it looked like. Watch came right off.
But Robert, one of the deceptively better bowlers down here. It seemed like you said it's very simple, but he shoots 250 more than probably anybody I've seen down here. So he's liable to shoot, a big 250 game. 260 at any time,
at
really.
Any time, yeah.
On any pattern. I've seen him bowl really well on really tough patterns.
And let's pan back to Costa and talk about deceptively simple. There's nothing simpler than this man's game, but quite honestly, I don't think there's anybody better right of 10 than John.
Yeah,
anybody.
Even you?
I'll tell you, in my heyday, I think I was better. And if you give me the 1-2 board, I think I'm better. But if it has to be between 3 and 10, I don't think anybody beats John on any pattern, anywhere in the entire state, potentially the entire country.
I'm not going to
that good.
I'm not going to disagree. I definitely
good.
agree with you on that. But like you said, in this tournament, there's a little bit out of bounds. They're kind of on the right. So is he going to be able to play there? And especially with this bowling center drying up as much as it does, at what point is he going to have to move left, and then he's not in his wheelhouse, he's in other people's wheelhouse?
So it's interesting with John, though. John can manipulate his hand a little bit, and he can get the ball out onto the lane. You watch John, he doesn't lay it down. He takes the first 6, 7, 8 feet of the lane out of play on a natural shot. So for John, I think it actually plays to his advantage. And I think he'll be able to either manipulate his hand or manipulate some of that radical equipment so that he can stay right longer than most people. John and I are similar in that respect. We can stay right a little bit longer than most people. We can have stuff a little bit more aggressive in our hand than most people when people have to be in urethane. John and I don't necessarily. So I think that plays to John's advantage here. I think he'll be able to, if he needs to, potentially point the ball through the out of bounds and still be able to get that reaction.
So I'm going to go back over to Felker and Thompson because they're still striking. So we're going to go back over to them, and they both have a double to start their game 3. And they're in a situation where basically whoever wins this game is going to win the match. So you can see they both have doubles. They're just going at each other, strike for strike, basically. So again, apologies for the Blair Witch Project camera, but
It's a perfect explanation for it.
it's like Dougie Vision. Like I said, it's Jeffy Vision. That's right. So we don't. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Garrett's thrown 18 out of the last 19 or something like that. I mean, he finished the last game, and then it's just crazy.
So what's the score with Charlie Ferrero and his opponent right now?
I will check. Charlie's down a bit.
Both Chris Felker and Gareth Thompson making the turn at about 5:20 or so into Game 3. As we mentioned, Chris Felker second place in the non-champions regional down in Fort Myers this past weekend. And the person who won the tournament was Charlie Ferrero, who's bowling on the lane next to him.
Charlie's down 67 in this match.
Charlie's down 67, but it looks like, let me see, what's the score up
He's made up
there?
about 10, 20 pins, 20, 30 pins already. So.
Garrett looking for the triple. Oh, rings the 10. You can see the emotion. He really wanted that one. I mean, they want every single one of these right now. You can't miss one.
Garrett, we're at the point now where Chris is just not missing. He gave Garrett a little bit of an opening last game. But if you remember, game one, Chris punched out with the last 4, 5, 6, had 11 strikes last game, and it started with 1, 3. So clearly, Chris is moving correctly. He's following the pattern. He's staying in that Helios, which we expected. We didn't expect him to really get out of that.
Nah, he's not going to get out of that ball for some time, probably.
Well, he could just amp up the speed a little bit more, get further left.
Garrett Luke shooting at the 10. Gets it.
Little backup action.
So he was already down, what, 6? And now he's down another 21, basically. So now he needs Chris to not just make a mistake, but he needs a mistake plus.
Yeah, he needs big mistakes. Like an open mistake.
Here's Charlie. He's got a lot of ground to make up, and that's not how he's going to do it.
Just can't get the ball that far right.
Does it look like he's just throwing it too hard for that much launch angle?
I mean, like 20 and a half mile an hour, right? So Charlie's normal speed is about 19 and a half. 20 is pushing it. So when you get up to 20 and a half and you get it a little too far right in this pattern, as we discussed earlier, probably.
Here's Steve Ortiz looking for the double, and he gets it. And his match, game 3, is a tie. Charlie looking to make that. And does he get it? Does he get it? No.
I can't believe it hit it.
Oh, man. That's a tough break, too. He needs every pin he can get. He can't afford to be doing that. So that's a big spare, and he just couldn't get it.
We're going to go say hi to Charlie. I'm going to go
So I'm going to take a walk a little bit. Let's see. Let's check in on, I don't know. Let's see who we get. Let's see David Brown and Reggie Pearson down there. Let's go see how they're doing. We'll come back to Chris and Garrett in a second. We'll give them some time to throw a couple more strikes, but that's all they're doing. And it looks like David Brown went to urethane. He's throwing now a Pink Widow. It surprises me a bit. Let's get on the other side of this so we can see this. Let's see what this thing does. It's a big hook and urethane ball. Let's see what this ball looks like. I'm curious. That actually isn't bad. It looked like it hooked a little early, but just kind of stayed there. Read the pattern. He's not going with a very big hook. That's an interesting choice by David. We'll have to ask him about that later. And his opponent is Sal Maggio, and Sal with the 2-8-10, and maybe that's why he went to urethane, because maybe he saw his ball just wasn't picking up in the mid lane. As you can see, Sal's just kind of stopped straight 5. So now we'll take a look at Reggie Pearson. I don't know what the score of their first match was, but this second game is, I'm sorry, the third game is pretty close. I don't know what the first 2 games were like. And Sal shoots the 2-8-10, just basically looking to get 1, and he's looking to get 2, and he doesn't do that. So we'll see Reggie and Adam Colton do here. Reggie's still throwing that Evo Quantum.
So kind of a little bit of an update for some of the matches we can't see. I think Nate Garcia is making the turn around 5:30.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's obviously bowling well. No surprise, of course. Nate's a great player, as I said, he's a pro. Coming off the World Series where he's not so happy. So
Yeah.
expected him to come out here, as he's done in the past in this tournament, and light up. I think a couple years ago, he shot 780 or 770 in his opening match. So no surprise at all.
So I got something interesting to tell you.
Yeah.
So David Brown is bowling against Sal Maggio, and David Brown is throwing urethane. He's throwing a Pink Widow. Yeah, that's the only urethane ball I've even seen. No, I saw Sal was throwing a UC3 a little earlier, but he's not now.
Well, that's interesting, considering David's reaction with the, what was that ball?
Oh, before he was throwing the conspiracy scheme.
Right.
It's kind of a shiny-ish, big hooking, a lot of back end.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He was really, he was so end over end, and he was controlling that back end very nicely. But I'm kind of surprised to see him fall down to something even smoother than the reaction we saw.
Right, but what I think maybe was happening, because Sal, the last game, 2-8-10, and his ball's just skidding through the mid lane, and maybe that ball that David Brown was throwing wasn't picking up in the mid lane, so he went to basically the most aggressive ball in the building at 20 feet down the lane, which is that Pink Widow. And that last shot, he threw look great, and you can see he's got a double spare strike right now.
And he's got a massive game in the match. I mean, I think the match
So this could be just like a trial balloon. You know,
Little test of theory.
you use that urethane while going down the lane. I'll hold the camera up.
Okay, so interesting. It looks like he's getting around that one a little bit more than he was that conspiracy. So
It doesn't look bad.
No, it
It does not
doesn't
look bad at all.
yeah, it's setting and shaping very nicely.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him after this match is over. We'll see if we can pull him aside for a second when he's done.
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
We'll ask him with it.
If this is a pure test down the road kind of deal because the match is so deep. A couple other good players down here we did not mention. Jacob Regular, also one of my EBA teammates. Scott Anderson, another EBA teammate. Jacob coming off the cap. Scott Anderson as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Jacob a very, very good up-and-coming two-hander. I like seeing him get out now off shot. Where it's a little bit more difficult than picking the ball off the throne and to the right. So,
Also down there are Jeremy Mooney and Carlos Pabon, two other better players down here.
yeah, and Juan Gaviria, who we don't see much anymore, but nice that he came out.
So we'll see. Hopefully we get them on this side of the building at some point.
Yeah.
We get to watch them a little bit because we can't go to the left of 19 and 20 because there's no Wi-Fi down there.
We'll talk about it, but we can't be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of talking about things, let's also have on 5.
All right.
This is bad because Gareth strikes very cool.
I mean, he's going to shoot 8-10 and lose. I mean, what do you do?
I mean, Costa can shoot 8-11. Gareth can shoot 7-80. That will put him in the losing bracket.
I mean, that's a tough draw, especially, I mean, it's a tough draw when you look around. It's not like scores are high. Here's 160, 130, 2-0, 180. Scores aren't high. Scores are high if you're good.
The only other person they would lose to is Nate right now. Even Gilman with the 300, I think, is turning at 480. So he's still turning behind those guys.
Sorry about that, shaking the camera a bit. My arms are getting a little tired, so it's all right.
Golfer just wrapped 10, so that's the first time that golfer is actually not struck, I think.
Yeah, that's the first time he hasn't struck since the 5th frame of the last game.
Yeah.
But looks like we have somebody with the front 7 down here. Let's see who that is. I can't tell from here.
Young left-hander.
Let's see. We'll watch this shot and then we'll try to figure out. I don't recognize him, so he's not out of town.
Young two-handed left-hander.
Two-handed left. Pretty good shot right there.
Interesting. It almost looks like an old-school blue hammer. Even I know it's not, but it almost looks like.
Yeah. Brett Wolf says hi, by the way.
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Well, he's not here. I'm just saying. You said Blue Hammer. I'm saying Brett Wolf says hi. Let's see. So it's 31D. Let's see what 31D is. We'll go to the bracket. So let's see. Lane 31. Let's see. 631. Zachary. There we go. Zachary Jackson. Who is it? Zachary Jackson. But you can see it's the kind of pattern where if you're good, you're scoring.
Yeah.
And if you're not good and making mistakes, you're not. But it's not because the pattern's hard. It's just because it's a little harder than a house shot. There's a little more out of bounds. There's a little more hook in the middle. And it's rewarding good shots. But it's not, it's not overly punishing the bad shots, but you still have to make the good shots. Garrett with the 4-8 here, that's not easy spare. You don't want to be shooting this ever. Good spare by Garrett. But he's going to still be down in his match. So Gareth Thompson leads with 4-8 on that.
Yeah, it didn't look like a bad shot. It just maybe caught a little bit of that down lane transition, but it didn't look like a bad shot. So I don't know if what kind of moves he makes if he makes.
At some point, you have to think that Felker's rev rate is doing something to the lane.
Yeah, but
at some point,
if you watch, Chris's break point is a little bit less than Garrett, not much, but a little bit. So if anything, you would think Garrett would get a little bit harder reaction off that spot. I think if he hits Felker's spot, he's going to get a little bit of an overreaction because of what he's doing. Right. He may get that opposite, a little bit of push if he's a little too far right.
Right, but because Thompson is further left and he's going further right, his ball is crossing Felker's path twice. Once on the way out and then another one on the way in. So So it's sometimes the reaction might not be what he expects it to be. It might be a little too much, or it might hook a little early, or push a little more.
Although
You never
it doesn't
know.
seem to be facing him.
No, I mean he's only shooting
minus that
750.
one shot,
You know,
right? Yeah.
it's only a 750.
Yeah, I'm going to take this one.
Yep. Let's get a look at Derek Hightower. Hightower with spare strike, spare 5-bagger.
Okay, so Garrett makes the turn at 5:25.
Good shot by Hightower.
Felker makes the turn at 5:31, I think.
Fell for a little light there.
So it was a 16-pin match, not a 6-pin match. You make that correction. So
Felker just kind of amped that one a little bit.
yeah. So Felker makes the turn at 5:41, and Garrett makes the turn at 5:25.
Felker's max now is going to be 267, while Garrett's in the 250s. So Felker's got 10 pins on him right now.
And Felker's only open, by the way, is his spare. So
He missed the 2-8.
he did.
Oh, that was what he missed last
the
game.
8 out of the 2, yeah.
Thompson gets it
Yeah,
wide.
got
but
away with that one, yeah.
He got that ball out and it just coming back. But
Got away with that one.
that's a good shot right there, too, because especially after Felker leaves that
Piece of
bubble.
that cake.
Sorry.
Garrett singing for us on
Felker looking to cover this today. There it is. All right, you see he's excited about that. So it's about a 20-pin match right now.
and Felker with a 16-pin lead. So
Well, 20 pins total.
yeah. So interesting, you know. Felker this is one more time. Garrett goes a double. That makes him very interesting.
Let's take a look at a Hightower on a 6-bagger. Hightower, great shot there. He's on a 7-bagger now. I don't know what the score his match was, but his opponent's only got 2-0, and he's looking at 270. So if that match was anything within 60 pins, Derek's going to come away with the victory. Got 9 pin.
Just expanding a little bit here. Derek obviously is going to win his match. Has that well in hand. Larry has his match. I think well in hand. Another interesting developer. That one dead. A little bit slower at 18 instead of 18 and a half, 19 where we've seen it. So opening for Garrett here, and I say opening, and I use that loosely. A double puts a little bit of pressure on Chris, and brings his match into single digits.
Great shot by Garrett.
Not sure you can throw it any better than that.
He's pumped up right now.
Yeah, that was pretty clutch right there.
He's lined in, and this one's coming right down to the end. We'll see how this one turns out. It's a great match right now.
Yeah, it just got very interesting with Felker not striking.
Makes that 10 pin.
Barely. Well, I'm going to throw in the barely there because I saw the little hip check he gave me.
Yeah, well, when you're throwing everything to spares, you never know. Especially when you have an approaching 500 river rate.
Yeah.
So now we've got Jasinoff with the front 9.
I would assume his match was but I don't know where he was after.
So that's wide, but he's got not a lot of balls. He's going to bring that back.
What kind of room is that? Even he knows. When he comes back with his hands behind his back, I think he knows that was a boo-boo and he got away with it. But I don't think he's complaining.
What it seems like so far, with the exception of Felker, The bowlers who have the slower ball speed seem to be doing really well right now.
Yeah, I would say, and I would say Gilbert, his ball speed isn't that good.
No, but he doesn't throw it super hard either.
Yeah, well, he's in the 17 and a half inch range, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Listen, it looked a little, 1.8, that's great. And it looked a little faster than 15. I don't trust these things, Santa.
Get that ball wide. Shaker 3, didn't get it out. So that's going to be 289. Again, that match, as you said, well in hand. Probably, we don't know for sure, but we're going to assume it's within 70 pins.
So we shot down the Costa, kind of needs to strike, which is unbelievable that I have to say that.
Man.
One break Chris could have right now.
Wow, he got that in a little bit. It just didn't.
Up pitch, and it really went through.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
I don't know
much.
how else to say that it went through. Which unbelievably gives Gareth the lead.
Yeah, that's insane.
Now, this is strikers and pins do bounce here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, not going to say this is out of the realm of possibility, but it's Chris sees that he bounces this out and makes it.
And he might need to make it. Doesn't get that.
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing, but Garrett's not the lead in this match.
And Belcher, the best he can shoot is 232, and Garrett should put up 250. That'll be 20 pins.
Yeah, I mean, he's down 16, so Garrett needs to. And he knows it.
Yeah, and I would expect nothing less than
Dead close.
if he doesn't strike there, he's also in the 230s, and that puts it right back to Belcher. And he gets it.
Dead close. The kid's good, but in case you don't know who he is, the kid's really, really good.
Frame here, and we've got one heck of a match with Gareth Thompson and Chris Belcher coming down the 10th frame with Thompson down by 16 going into this game. Just 3 games total pins, and looking at maxing out at 257. Belcher's only got 232. He tripled. As you can see, the some of the matches are finishing up. Bowling Center is starting to quiet down a little bit. There's some matches going on.
I left you on my match.
So here we go.
All right, here's the deal, folks. Belcher needs double, and I think Garrett can shut him out with the first one. If I'm adding that right? No,
You said it was 16 pins, right?
Garrett needs a double to shut Belcher out.
Belcher coming up first, so
Unless Belcher misses, and then Garrett sees one.
this is a must strike every shot.
Yeah.
And just plants it in the pocket.
The fate is in Garrett's hand. First double, and Belcher can't see it. Belcher just needs to get up there and strike because there's nothing to do now except strike.
Does he like it? He likes it. Great shot by Thompson. Al Felker gets up trying to keep putting the pressure on him. Felker needs this one to make Garrett strike. And he gets it again.
I mean, no question. So here's the deal, folks. Felker, one more for 232 is going to put him at 770 and change. Garrett, one more, puts him in the 250s and shoves Chris out. And also shoots 776. So unbelievable here. But it is what it is.
Great shot by Thompson.
That's the match. That is the match. Garrett is going to finish in the 250s. And Garrett's going to shoot 771. No, 250, 781 with a strike. And Felker at 229 shoots 774. Unbelievable match between two great bowlers down here. We have it every year. We get that one match where it's just the bum draw. Other than Nate Garcia, it's the only match in the building where either one of those scores is just an unbelievable match, and we'll try to get both of these guys to talk about it a little bit. Maybe Chris will settle down. We'll try to get both of these guys to give us a little closer play on that match. We'll grab Garrett here. Hey, Garrett. First of all, great bowling. Kind of walk us through those last couple of frames and what you were thinking.
Well, I just want to make good shots. Just hit my target. Whatever happens, happens. I know if he strikes out, that I still got to perform. So.
Yeah, you needed a double. If he would have doubled, you needed. He did double. You needed a double, and you got it. What were you thinking a couple breaks earlier when you saw him just get an awful break and leave that 7-10? What kind of goes through your head as a bowler in a match play event when you see that kind of opening and you know you're down a little bit, but it's time to stop?
It's just life. I mean, knowing Chris, knowing Felker, it's one of those things where you just expect them to strike every ball, especially after the turn, us both being over 500, where you see some of the other scores just like luck of the draw. So just he gave me an opportunity, and as good bowlers, you got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, you threw great shots in the 8th, 9th, and 10th when you absolutely needed every one of them. Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And good luck in your next match.
Thank you.
So we've got a couple other matches going on. Let's take a walk down and see some other bowlers finishing up. So we're not going to know what the scores are, but let's see what's going on here. Looks like there's Lloyd Reinhardt, one of the better lefties down here in South Florida. Very simple and smooth game, but great mechanics. If you're looking to learn how to bowl and you want to mimic somebody's game and you're left-handed and you want to learn how to just go out the board, Lloyd's a good bowler to model your game after. Some of the other matches finishing up. Fun to see is you've got some lanes like when we were watching Chris and Garrett just striking at will, and you have 240, 240, 230, and then you look at the next pair over and you've got split, and you've got 80 in the fourth. It's like I said, this isn't a house shot, so there's going to be bowlers are going to have to make some shots. It's not the U.S. Open. I mean, it's not that hard, obviously, but a lot of bowlers don't understand that there's middle room in pattern difficulty between a house shot and a sport condition, and you can have patterns that are between the two that are somewhat challenging, but if you make good shots, you're going to get rewarded. And this is one of those patterns where good players are being rewarded right now for making good shots. Here's J.J. Salomon, one of the up-and-coming youth bowlers down here in South Florida. Another lefty. And that one looks like a hole. It does hold. He tricks the six out. So Lloyd Reinhardt again. And so after this round is over, there's going to, it's not a redraw every game. There's a bracket, as you saw, I showed the bracket before, so the bowlers already know what lanes they're going to be on. But there's going to be a little short break in between, so this stream it'll go dark for a few minutes, and then we'll come live again. So if you want to take a break, get something to eat or whatnot, when the stream goes down, it'll come back up soon thereafter. We will be back all day today, covering every round as long as my iPad battery lasts. My arm is already tired. My back hurts, my arms hurt. This is great. But you know what? There's a lot of bowlers in the country who don't get to bowl in any events like this because their local towns don't have tournaments that are fun like this. And at least, they can watch us.
You should be out here.
A little bit of hip and knee problems. Today's not a good day, so it's okay. Maybe next year. But this is fun. I'm enjoying it. And I hope everybody watching at home is enjoying also. We need more bowlers with name shirts because there's a lot of bowlers I don't know, and I like Tony Giuliano. I know Tony Giuliano, and I know Mitch Block, his opponent.
That's the next ball a long time.
That one a little wide in 2-4 cents. I don't know what the status of their match is, but that's an opening for Giuliano after he goes split.
There's some ugly scores right there.
Yeah, there are some. If you make good shots, you're getting rewarded right now, and if you're not making good shots, it's a challenge. Good shot by Giuliano for the double. So we have David Brown and Reggie Pearson here. How'd you guys do in your matches?
I won mine.
How'd you do?
Loser!
So, Dave, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I saw you started with a conspiracy scheme, but then you went to urethane.
Yes.
Why did you make that? Because you're the only person I see out here throwing urethane. So that Pink Widow, why did you go to that ball?
They were getting a little crispy in the back and just moving left. I couldn't carry very well, so it's just let me get something so I can go a little more square, and that ball kind of faced up pretty well, a lot better than I thought it would, so I just kind of stuck with it, kind of tried to play defensively too since I was up against Sal.
Yep.
So I was already ahead after starting game 3, so just bail it out and see what happens.
And you're going to be bowling Adam Colt in the next round?
Yes.
Okay. Anything different you're going to try in the next match? Or same
I
kind
watched
of game
them
plan?
down there. They're on fire apparently, so I'm going to make a ball change. I'm not going to be throwing urethane
So
this
you guys
time.
are going down to that side of the house?
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess all those guys are coming up to this side of the house?
Yeah,
That'll be
that's
interesting. So we get to see some different bowlers on the stream.
So I'm going to make a ball change, move inside, something a little cleaner, a little smoother, probably throw the big foot, and call it a day. See what happens.
All right, Douglas, good luck.
Thank you.
So let's go back down. We have those guys on the last pair are finishing up. But I think most of these matches are done. So we're going to call the stream right now. We'll be back in about, 20 minutes or so for round 2. And hopefully we get to see if all the bowlers from that side of the house are coming up to this side. We'll get to see a whole new bunch of bowlers here as now we start splitting up into the winner's bracket and loser's bracket. So the tournament continues. It's going to be a long day. Feel free to join us anytime today. And hold on, we have Scott Anderson. Scott Anderson, how'd you do in your match, Scott?
I shot 706.
706. Was that a winner
And
or a
I
loser?
lost.
And you lost.
And
Who'd you
I lost
bowl?
by 30.
Who'd you bowl?
Brady Carbochi.
Brady
He
shot
bowled fantastic.
740.
He shot 732 or something. Yeah.
What pair were you on?
7 and 8.
Where
all the way
the
left.
David Brown was telling me that the lanes are on fire down there. Is that what you saw? Or not?
Towards the end of game 3, they started to get a little toasty. Had to make about a 5 or 6 board jump left, but
Who you bowling next round?
I don't even know his name.
The person.
But
It would have been the other person on your pair.
The loser on my, yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I
What,
don't know him.
do you know what he shot?
I know he shot 240 the last game, so he found it.
Yeah,
wherever it was.
What pair are you going to be on this round?
37 and 8. So we
Oh,
from
cool.
one
So we'll
end
get to
the
watch you
other
guys.
end.
Nice. So we'll get to see you bowl a little bit, and good luck to you in your match. All right. So we'll end this round, and we'll be back in about maybe 20 minutes or so for round 2 as I recharge my iPad and give my arms holding up the iPad a rest. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. Thanks.